Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'll be talking about the remaining part of Nebosh IG1 element 3. If you're watching my video first time, please don't forget to subscribe my channel. So I have splitted this total element into some number of questions actually. I'll be taking class according to these questions only. So you can follow my videos with your textbook also. So everything is as per your syllabus only. Okay. So without further delay, let's get started. So our next question is outline the objectives of risk assessment. Okay, so the objectives of risk assessment is to prevent death and personal injury, other types of loss incident and breaches of statute law which might lead to enforcement action and or prosecution, and the direct and indirect costs that follow on from accidents. Okay, so to prevent these things. Okay, so our next question is what is a suitable and sufficient risk assessment? Okay, so a suitable and sufficient risk assessment should identify the significant risk arising out of work, that is, those are most likely to occur and result in harm being caused, with any remaining risk being at an acceptable low level. And the second thing is identify all those persons who could be at risk, including workers and others such as visitors. Vulnerable people such as young persons should also be identified. Okay, and the third thing is evaluate the effectiveness of current control measures, and the next thing is enable the employer to identify and prioritize the measures that must be taken to protect people from harm, including complying with any relevant legal provisions. Okay, and the last thing is be appropriate to the nature of the work and remain valid for a reasonable period of time. In other words, the risk assessment should be proportionate to the risk in the workplace. Okay, so these are the things that will come under a suitable and sufficient risk assessment. Okay, so the next question is identify the 5 steps of risk assessment. Okay, so the common 5 steps of risk assessment is identify the hazards, identify the people who might be harmed and how, and evaluate the risk and decide on precautions, record the significant findings and implement them, and review and update as necessary. Okay, so our next question is give some examples of safety hazards which can cause physical injury. Okay, so safety hazards which can cause physical injury are work at height, stacked materials, moving vehicles, manual handling operations, moving parts of machinery, electricity, toxic or corrosive chemicals, deep water, a naked flame, animals such as dogs, violent people. Okay, so our next question is give some examples of health hazards. Okay, so common physical health hazards are radiation, vibration, noise, extremes of temperature, etc., and chemical health hazards including lead, mercury, sulfuric acid, silica, cement dust, etc., and biological health hazards, HBV, bacteria, virus, etc. And next thing is ergonomic hazards, ergonomic health hazards. Okay, so example, very repetitive movement, stooping, twisting, manual handling, etc. And the last thing is psychological health hazards. Okay, example, stress and trauma. Okay, so our next question is identify the sources of information. Okay, sources of health and safety information. So the sources of health and safety information is classified into 2 categories actually. So the first thing is internal information sources. Okay, so internal information sources are accident records, ill health data or absence records, medical records, risk assessments, maintenance records and reports, safety representative inspections, audit and investigation reports, safety committee meeting minutes. Okay, these are the things coming under internal information sources. Okay, so in external information sources, so the first thing is national legislations, approved codes of practice and guidance notes published by the HSE and other authorities, standards published by the British Standards Institution BSI or European and international authorities such as International Organization for Standardization, and manufacturers information such as operating instructions for plant and machinery and material safety data sheets from chemical suppliers, trade associations such as Chemical Industries Association, trade associations such as Chemical Industries Association, safety journals and magazines, internal bodies and agencies such as European Union and International Labour Organization, which sets international law, trade unions for a particular industry or sector, charities or not for profit organizations that have an interest in a particular type of workplace or work activity, okay, and loan working, okay. So these are the information sources are coming under external information sources, okay. So our next question is, what are the hazard identification methods, okay. So the common hazard identification methods are task analysis, legislations, okay, legislation produced by the government, and manufacturers information, example material safety data sheets and incident data, okay. So these are the common hazard identification methods, okay. So our next question is, explain task analysis, okay. So what is task analysis? So task analysis explained in an abbreviation called SREDIM, okay. So what is SREDIM? So first one, S for select the task, and R for record the steps or stages of the task, E for evaluate the risk associated with each step, D for develop the safe working method, I for implement the safe working method, and the last thing is M for monitor to ensure it is effective, okay. So this is called task analysis, okay. So we need to select the task and record the steps or stages of the task and evaluate the risk associated with each step, develop the safe working method, implement the safe working method, and monitor to ensure it is effective, okay. So our next question is, apart from workers, who might be affected by work activities in a workplace, okay. People like contractors, workers, visitors and members of the public can be affected by the work activities in a workplace, okay. So our next question is, what is acute and chronic health effects, okay. So what is acute health effects? So acute health effects are short term health effects often experienced immediately after exposure to the hazard, okay. So for example, exposure to high levels of carbon monoxide gas will cause immediate unconsciousness followed by the death within few minutes, okay. So this is acute health effects. And next thing is chronic health effects. So chronic health effects are long term effects. So these often occur as a result of routine exposure to the hazard. For example, noise induced hearing loss can occur as a result of frequent exposure to excessively loud noise over months or years, okay. So this is called chronic health effects, okay. So if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, please tell me that in comment section. If you like my video, please don't forget to give a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching this video.